My name is Brian Fox. I recently sat down with all 9 town council and school committee candidates to learn more about them. Questions were developed by myself and members of the Wakefield, Massachusetts Community Page Facebook group and were not reviewed by WCAT, and no candidate was provided a final list of questions ahead of time. For preparation, I reviewed all 9 candidates' voting and town census records back to 2016, looked at posts on local Facebook groups, campaign pages, conducted online searches, and read the Wakefield Daily Item. These interviews were not done at the request of WCAT, and the views expressed are my own as an individual. Lastly, thank you to WCAT for helping with this huge undertaking, and thank you to all the candidates who are running for a volunteer position in our town. Hi, joining me tonight is Anne Danehy, running for a town council seat on April 27th. So Anne, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing well, thanks. Happy to be here.
Welcome to our forum. I'm excited to have you here. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So let's see, I have lived in Wakefield for 28 years. My husband and I moved to Wakefield. We knew somebody who lived in Wakefield and we liked that person. So, okay, we'll buy a house here. So we love the lake. We came because we love the lake so much. I actually bought a house probably the furthest point from the lake and still be in Wakefield. I live right on the Melrose line. And we stayed here because we really felt a sense of community here, and we fell in love with the people. And we raised our 2 daughters here. I have a 26-year-old daughter and a 24-year-old daughter. And it's been great. I have so many great friends here. I was raised in Portland, Maine. My dad was a firefighter. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. And they instilled they've both passed away. And I think back on kind of the core values that they instilled in me, which was about honesty, integrity, kindness, and being a good member of your community. And I hope that I'm living up to those standards, and I consider those to be my core values that guide me in everything that I do, personally and professionally. So I've been actively involved since I started out as PTO and as a Girl Scout leader, Destination Imagination coach. I got more involved through the years. I started something called the Parent Partnership, which is still in existence. It's a lecture series for parents. It came because when your child starts going to middle school, they stop talking to you and you stop having kind of connection with parents. So I was like, okay, I've never done this before. And maybe there are some other parents in my situation. So we brought in really great parenting experts that were fantastic. And I'm really proud that that still continues today. I served 5 years on the finance committee during very tough financial times, probably the toughest financial times that the town's seen. It was 2006 to 2011. And my time on that finance committee was cutting budgets. And it was very tough because we had to look at every single budget with a fine-tooth comb, looking at cost savings, making the tough decisions in terms of recommending budgets or not recommending budgets. And it was a very tough time. But it was also a time as tough as it was, and it's easy to say now looking back, oh, it was good for us because, we had to every budget had to really think very carefully about how do we deliver services in the most cost efficient way possible. And knowing that every decision, all these budgets were underfunded. The department heads told us fire would come in. I'm just telling you is that here's the budget that we've come up with. I'm not guaranteeing you that we can provide a safe public safety the way that we need to. Those were tough, but it was good. It was good training ground. So then I ran for school committee. I was on school committee for 6 years. I was a chair for 1 year, vice chair for another, vice chair first, then chair. And I was really proud of all the work that we got done when I was on school committee. I can look back now, and school committee is so much work. It's an incredible amount of time, which is why I've taken 4 years off. So I've recovered, but it's a lot of subcommittee meetings. But what we did, we worked with the town. We worked with the town on the rebuilding of the high school football field. We were able to build the new Galvin Middle School and the fields that accompany it. We brought in full day kindergarten. That's the free full day kindergarten. We opened up the Doyle Integrated Preschool Program at the Doyle School. We invested in social. Every year we increased our resources to social and emotional learning of students. Before it was the buzzword that it is now. Everybody's saying social and emotional learning. We were doing it way back, way back. We were doing it. We also made sure that we saw inequities in different schools having different curriculum in the elementary. We made sure that we aligned that curriculum so that every student would have the same curriculum going into the middle school and high school, which seems kind of common sense, but that wasn't the way it was. But and I'm probably missing something, but we did a lot. So I was really proud. I really was very proud of that. It was, we hired 2 superintendents. So it was tough, but I needed a break, but now I'm back because I look at things in the town and I see things happening in the town, and I don't want to be that person that's the armchair quarterback. I want to be involved. And I think that I have a lot to offer the town in terms of my experience, both on the finance committee as well as on school committee. I know how those boards work. I've also am able to look at things that are challenges facing the town through a different lens, I think, or different lenses. So that was a long way to tell you a little bit about myself.
You hit 3 of my questions, so you're helping me out here, You're helping me out. So you took 4 years off, and now you're stepping back into it. You've had, I would consider, a very long public volunteer role.
Mhm.
So based on what you know from that experience, how well do you think you'll be able to slide into this new position if elected?
I think I will be able to slide into it quite easily. And I think actually taking those 4 years off, um, I think that I can come with a fresh perspective too. Is that, it's new players, new issues, but I still will bring those experiences that I had. And one of the things that I try to do, like creative problem solving, I try to look at what can be, not what can't be. It's what I tell my children all the time when they used to say, complain about something, or I can't, this can't do this, can't do that. And I said, okay, don't think about why you can't do something, think about how you can do it. And that's how I try to lead.
Do you have any goals for this coming term if you're elected? I
There you
know there's a
go.
lot going on right now, so
So much going on. I'm glad you didn't ask what's the number one issue, because I think that there's to
I
prioritize.
think there's too many number one issues
There's
right
too
now.
many,
All fighting
exactly.
for that, all jockeying for position. So
Exactly. So, yeah. So what I want to do is I want to improve the quality of life for everybody in Wakefield. I think that we are very divided right now. We're very polarized. I think we're a little microcosm of the world, of the country. My goal is to make everybody feel like Wakefield is home, whether you've just moved here or whether you've lived here, or whether you've lived here, you're from a family of generations. I'm kind of in between. I've anointed myself to be to be from Wakefield. I've been here for 28 years and raised my
are you
children.
sure? I mean, I really thought that takes 3 generations.
I'm self-anointing myself. So
That's
um,
okay. Hey, after that many years, I mean, you need some credit there.
I feel like Wakefield's home. I feel like Wakefield is home. Um, but I think that there's a lot of people who have been here, those families for generations, who don't feel like Wakefield's home anymore. And I think that there are people who have moved here who don't really feel at home yet. And I think that we can, as a town, can play a role in that. That's one thing. And that's kind of an overarching goal. And it's a long-term goal. I also would like to work on economic development, is thinking about how we deliver, what we can do to downtown. I think the Envision 2030 is really exciting. I think that it's going to bring the aesthetics are going to be great for town. I think it's going to help businesses that are currently here, and I think it's going to attract more businesses. Um, I'd like to be a part of our long-term strategic growth strategy that I think that we need to really work on. Um, Preserving open space is important to me. Affordable housing is important as well. Making it so that our firefighters and our teachers and our police can live. People who grew up here and who are serving our town can afford to live here. So, but at the same time, I think it needs to be really, there's a very fine line that we need to follow. So I'd like to play a part in that. I also have some ideas around, um, tax issues and that I can share with you if you want me to jump in, but
No, we'll skip that one for now.
mhm.
I have taxes on here later on. I don't
Okay.
want to gets too into taxes. I mean, you could really get bogged down in those issues.
I know, right?
Um, so I know you're on the outskirts of town over in Melrose, or near the Melrose line. Um, so
Greenwood Shuttle, we used to call it. With my kids' friends were all over in Montrose. Go on the Greenwood Shuttle.
um, so the National Grid work has created a lot of detours around town: Salem Street, Lowell Street, and obviously what's been happening on Broadway at the railroad crossing, which is having a huge impact on people that live in those areas
Mhm.
for going on a while now.
Yeah.
Um, Knowing what has transpired now, where the railroad crossing still isn't open and there's more detours coming, they're digging things back up again everywhere. What can we do going forward to kind of learn from those issues and how to do it better?
That's a hard question. That's a really tough question because I guess that I guess right now we're left with two options: is to abandon the project and then we don't get to be considered part of that quiet zone. So
That
I
would
don't
affect me. I really do want that quiet
yeah,
zone to
I don't
continue.
think that people, I was going to say, I don't think that that's a really realistic solution. I think that we need to have that quiet zone. Um, it's the railroad association, I think, that's holding things up. I think that the town has been working really hard to resolve it. I don't know when it seems to be an issue with the railroad association. I guess just keep putting pressure on them and trying to continually have meetings. But I think in the interim, maybe what we could do is trying to find ways to help the businesses that are being hurt around there, because that's a shame. And maybe talking to the businesses and finding out what are their challenges and what ideas do they have, ideas of things that could help them that the town could do. I don't know what those are, but that could be a possibility. Um, and I think that just communication at all terms. I don't know. I don't have enough information on this to know what happened, why it's taking so long. What I've just heard that it's the railroad
Yep,
that's
that's
causing.
the gist of it. Is the My understanding is the work had begun. Someone in town had missed that if the work begins, we have to requalify for a quiet zone.
Yeah.
And then the work began, and that person said, "Oops, we now have a problem because we have to request a special inspection." And as you know, we only have four crossings to the west side off North Ave. One, of course, is one way. So you
Mhm.
have two
Oh yeah.
options: either you're at Prospect or Albion area to get from the west side towards downtown,
Mhm.
and then Broadway is shut down. And at least from the other way, you could take the I forget the name of the road by Tuttle Street there,
Oh
Chestnut. You could come across Chestnut
yeah.
from the other way, but it's really limiting to those people on that side of the town.
Hmm. Oh yeah, I have friends there. It is. It's a big pain, but I think that the safety things that they did that made them have to requalify for the quiet zone. I think that those were necessary because I don't know if you remember, there was a train accident one time near the Greenwood stop. So
Yes.
I think safety kind of is important.
No, it's something we definitely have to. We certainly want safe railroad crossings in town. We don't want issues where, of course, you also don't want the horns going to let people know. So it's
No,
a tough decision.
no.
Um, So you were on the school committee for 6 years,
Hmm.
and I'm interested on your take on the building of a new high school, having also worn that hat before. Are
Hmm.
you in favor of a new building, modifying the existing building, and how do you think we should go about that?
Well, I'm very excited to see what happened with the plans, 'cause they're going to present a renovation and a new construction. So I'd like to hear more about that. Um, I think that providing a school that provides the best learning opportunity for students is really important. Education made a big difference in my life. My parents really believed in education. Um, my parents didn't have a lot of money. I worked my way through college. I worked during spring break. Would have rather have been in Florida probably, but I worked my way through. And then I got a full academic scholarship to go to graduate school, and it made a difference in my life. But it also made a difference because my high school experience got me there. So I think we owe it to our students that whether it's renovation or whether it is new construction, that we provide the best opportunities that we can for them, that give them opportunities and inspire them. Because sometimes, lots of students just need a little something to inspire them. And sometimes having nice resources so that you have science labs that work, science labs so you can do experiments, that's really important. I am
Something that
concerned. I'm
passes those requirements to be able
just
to
those
do.
requirements, those little requirements, right? That you have air quality, adequate air quality, roofs that don't leak. I'm a little concerned that if it's a renovation, that it might be putting bad money after or good money after bad money. What's the expression? Good money after bad
I
money.
think it's good after bad.
Good,
Yeah.
good money after bad money. I am a little bit concerned about that. I think that we have to be really careful that if we're going to spend money, that you want to spend it wisely, and you don't want to have to come back like some other buildings that we've had that have had to be renovated way before their time because they weren't done the way that they should have been because corners were cut.
Right. And now this is an opportunity to hopefully do it right from the beginning, as opposed to the
Right,
public safety building, or
right,
the there were issues with the Galvin when that was built. I mean, there's things happen.
right.
But I
And
understand what you're saying.
I mean, I'm not advocating, I'm saying is that we don't need luxury accommodations, but we need to have a high school that works for years to come so that we do it once and that's it.
As you know, probably the biggest hot button issue in town right now is the Warrior logo being retired at
Mhm.
the last school committee meeting.
Oh yeah.
So you were on the school committee for many years. What are your thoughts on how the debate has gone? And having been on the school committee, do you think they should have waited till after the non-binding election on April 27th?
So, very complex issue, very lots of emotions running really high on this. And I understand. I'm not from Wakefield, so I don't have really I don't have an attachment to the local, but I understand it. I understand that. Um, I also was on school committee for 6 years. What the public doesn't see is how much time we spend on every single issue. It's not like we go in there, we're like, okay, let's vote, and here we go. We spend a lot of time learning, listening, understanding, thinking, and coming to conclusions. So I do think that it is a school committee decision. It did get on the ballot as a non-binding referendum. The school committee did not put that on the ballot. They did not advocate for it to be on a ballot. It wasn't their ballot initiative. So I think they had every right to vote when they voted. Um, and I think they had every right. I think that they exercised their right. And that's not to say that it doesn't get voted on again after the referendum is going to be April 27th. And, you know, who knows what's going to happen after that.
To my knowledge, it's still on the ballot, so it's not like the input won't be there anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
As you know, Wakefield's been having a condo and apartment boom in the past few years. including new buildings going up in the Foundry Street area. How can we manage the growth of these developments while still maintaining our small town charm,
Mm-hmm.
as well as bringing in new people at different affordability
Mm-hmm.
levels?
Yeah, I know, right? There's a lot of issues that come with growth. Um, and I agree. I think that we need to keep our character of our town in terms of the look of it, of being a small town. I mean, one of the nice things is that we're 10 miles north of Boston and it has a nice small community feel. At the same time is that we are experiencing growth. We're a very desirable community. These properties are for sale. Private developers can come in and develop them. However, I think that I think that we definitely need to have affordable housing. We need affordable housing, and it's also a requirement to the state that we need to have affordable housing. So we do need that. We do need that growth. I think though that there can be better planning around the growth. So I get concerned. About what everybody's concerned about: traffic. Traffic's a mess. I get really concerned about the impact it has on schools, because when I was on school committee, every year we have a class size policy, and every year we vote to maintain that class size policy. And I'm pretty sure that every year that we maintain the class size policy, which was wonderful. It's great for kids. It's great for students. I mean, it's great for students. It's great for teachers. The problem is now we have more students in our school system. Are we going to be able to maintain those low class size policies? Are we going to have to build new schools? And where do we build new schools? What do we do? Do we add on? Can we add on? Space is really at a premium here. So I would like to see more careful growth. I'd like to see maybe a condo development or an apartment development for senior citizens. It includes low income units, so that a lot of people who raise their family, they live in these big houses paying astronomical taxes, and they don't have the income to support paying those taxes, have an option to stay in Wakefield. So, I would be in favor of that. I'd also be in favor of looking at maybe changing some zoning requirements that put stipulations in terms of the height and the size and things like that.
How have you been able to campaign during a pandemic? I'm sure your previous campaigns went a little differently than this current one.
Yeah. Yeah, it has definitely been different. Did not have a campaign fundraiser kickoff, did not have a kickoff in person, which is always fun because you get to see people that you don't usually see all the time, and it's very exciting and there's a lot of energy. I'm choosing not to do any inside gatherings at all. It's what the town is recommending, and I'm following the guidelines from the town. I think since I'm trying to be on town council, that I should probably follow the rules that the town sets. So
That is a very logical way to do
very
things.
logical, right? But on a personal note, I don't go to indoor restaurants, but that's a personal decision. But I just didn't think that it was appropriate to do like a campaign kickoff. I'm doing Zoom meet and greets. I used to do house parties, which were really fun because, a lot more fun than being on Zoom all the time. But I'm doing Zoom meetings. I'm trying to meet people. I have every Wednesday from 8:30 to 10:30 and 7 to 9 p.m. 8:30 to 10:30 in the morning, 7 to 9 p.m. I have Zoom meetings for anybody who wants to come and talk to me and meet me. So yeah, it's been a weird way to campaign. But that's why I really appreciate this opportunity too, because it allows us to kind of meet voters, but to get our message out so voters can learn more about us rather than just going by signs.
So I asked this question of Town Council Julie Smith Galvin last night. We're running out of time,
Oh,
but if you were given a grant where you could spend $1 million on anything in town, where would you like to use that money?
wow. Where would I like to use that money? I think the most bang for the buck would be on economic development, because we could work on building a program where we could maybe provide some kind of tax incentives for businesses to come here, like big businesses, because they pay a lot more in taxes than residential. So it would offset our residential tax rate, which I think people would be very happy with. And I think that we could provide economic incentives for businesses to want to come here and base here and commit to an X number of years of being in Wakefield. Looking at opportunities to continue working on the downtown. The work that's going on is really exciting, continuing that work. And I'm going to put a plug in for Greenwood, moving downtown, moving downtown business development down to Greenwood, which I think really needs. So this is way more than $1 million I'm talking about, but yeah.
Well, maybe if you get elected, you can help find more than that $1 million for this grant to make that
and
happen.
you know what, actually, there are a lot of opportunities at the state level. Like there's something called the Community Preservation Act that I would really like us to look into, because it's around smart growth. It's helping you to achieve affordable housing, having affordable housing, reaching your 40B, but also having a plan for preserving open space, for keeping the character of your town. So, looking into something like that, that's not a grant, but there's other grant opportunities. And I think the town's done a good job with the new person that they hired around that. So.
Well, thank you for your time tonight. It's great to talk to you and meet you somewhat in person.
I know.
Good luck as you're out there trying to campaign at this time.
Thank you.
I know it's not easy. I think you're doing your best with your Zoom meetings and get your signs out there, and there's only so much you can do right now. So
I'm just encouraging anybody to email me. They can email me at danehy4towncouncil@gmail.com. I'm happy to talk to anybody about any issues or concern, and they can follow me on facebook.com/Anne for Wakefield. That's ANNE for Wakefield, FORWAKEFIELD. Or they can just look Anne Danehy for Town Council, and they'll find my Facebook page, and they can follow me and learn more about me. So, and then they can make their decision.
Sounds great. Thanks for being here tonight.
Thank you. Bye-bye.